Good afternoon, parents and guardians and students of Mattawan Regional High School. First, on behalf of the entire staff, I'd like to wish everyone a happy, healthy new year. I wanted to make a short video just discussing the process for securing virtual instruction should your child either have to quarantine or isolate as a result of COVID-19. First and foremost, I just want to make sure that everyone is clear. There are only two ways that a student becomes eligible to participate in virtual instruction. The first is if a student tests positive for COVID-19. The second is if a student is identified as a close contact to an individual who is tested positive for COVID-19. If you find yourself in this unfortunate situation, there is a specific form that must be completed by the parent or guardian so that we can review it and set the student up for virtual instruction. Emailing the teachers, emailing the nurse, emailing the administrators, emailing the counselor will not trigger virtual instruction. There is a very streamlined process, and it is important that we maintain the continuity of that process so that we can ensure that every student who needs virtual instruction has it set up the same way so that all of the notifications that are necessary are able to be completed. If you find yourself in this position, please go to the high school website. Under announcements, it's the first link. It's also posted every Sunday in the Husky Weekly Update. It is also posted on our Facebook page and in our Twitter feed. You'll fill out that form with all of the requisite information, which is inclusive of either the date that you tested positive or the date in which you had contact and had to begin your quarantine. Once you submit that form, a copy will go to myself, it will go to Ms. Godowski, and you will also receive a copy in your email with the information that you input. Once we get that form, we will review it. We will add the student to the list of eligible students for virtual instruction. And then an automatic email will be sent to the parent or guardian and copied to the student's MRHS.org email address. That email will have the start date for virtual instruction, it'll have the last day for virtual instruction, and it will give the date of anticipated return to in-person instruction. During the time at which the student is on virtual instruction, they will log in through Google Meet, just as they did last year when we were virtual during the months of December, or if they unfortunately had to quarantine or isolate at another time of the year. The student should participate in those virtual sessions the same way that they would participate if they were physically in school. That is incredibly important. We want to make sure if students are not feeling well, then of course, don't log on to the Google Meet. But if they are feeling well, we want to make sure that we can keep them as up to speed with classroom activities as possible. Now, a couple notes on timelines. The first is, if unfortunately you test positive for COVID-19, once you test positive for COVID-19, you must be on virtual instruction for 10 days. There is no way to shrink or truncate the 10 days. If you are identified as a contact to a positive, in other words, you have not tested positive yourself, you are not having symptoms of COVID-19, you have just been told that you have been exposed and now need to quarantine. You are able to take a test after day 5 of quarantine. So you would do 5 days of quarantine, then you can go and you can take a COVID-19 test. If the test ends up being negative, you have the ability to return at the end of 7 days. The only thing that you would need to do is send in a copy of the negative test results to Ms. Godowski or myself. We will acknowledge receipt of those test results, and then you are able to return after the 7th day. If you elect to not get the test after day 5, then you would still be subject to a 10-day quarantine, just like if you were in isolation. Again, that is only for students who are contacts to a positive. So isolation, meaning you tested positive for COVID-19, you have to be on virtual instruction for 10 days. If you are quarantining, meaning you are a contact to a positive, you can have a test after day 5. If the test comes back negative, send the results in to myself or Ms. Godowski, and then you can return after day 7, thereby shortening your quarantine by 3 days. It is important to note that now that we have come back from break, there are a number of submissions that have come in that were only impacted by break. For example, there were people who put in their submission on December 24th, and their quarantine or isolation is now complete. Today, Tuesday, January 4th, anyone who submitted a form from December 23rd all the way until January 4th will be receiving that automated email. There is the possibility that you put in your dates and the dates you have now outlasted it. In other words, you were eligible to return yesterday, January 3rd. We're going to do our best to get those people removed so that you don't get another unnecessary email. But if you do get that email, the key date to look at is where it says eligible to return to in-person instruction. That's the date to pay attention to. I understand that the rules of the game are changing. I understand this is confusing, especially if it is not something that people are dealing with on a daily basis, meaning dates and quarantines and isolation. We are here to help you. If you do not get that automated email, please email me directly, and I will be able to find out why you did not get it, why it didn't come through. We hope to continue to have success with the process that we are using. If you are having difficulties with Google Meets, if you are eligible for virtual instruction, you have the email and you're having trouble signing on, please let your teachers know. But it is incredibly important that we keep this process as seamless as possible so that we can ensure that no one misses out on their virtual instruction if they unfortunately have to isolate or quarantine. Thank you for taking a couple minutes to listen. I hope that this answers some of the questions that you may have regarding quarantine, isolation, and virtual instruction, and we will continue to move forward and make sure that we are doing everything to keep students and staff safe while maintaining in-person instruction throughout the rest of the year. Have a great day, enjoy the afternoon, and I will see you tomorrow.